Hello and welcome everybody to this XTB market update. My name is Walid Koudmani, and in this video we're going to recap the US election night, a highly anticipated event that everybody was looking at, and I can just say that the results are not there yet, but let's see where we are so far. So in summary, we saw the election not be as one-sided as it seemed to be based on polls, so it's quite a close one. The US presidential election has not been decided yet, so it's unsure who's going to win. No major US organization decided to point a winner so far, so that means that neither of them is confident with calling it. However, according to NPR, Biden won 223 electoral votes so far, while Trump 212. While on the other hand, according to Fox, which is traditionally more, let's say, skewed in the other direction, both candidates are sitting at 233 votes now. Key results ahead to keep an eye on: Wisconsin today, Pennsylvania tomorrow, and Michigan on Friday. Those are key states to keep an eye on that could still decide the election. Florida was a big one. That went to Trump. Democrats are likely to keep the majority in the House of Representatives. Republicans are projected to retain majority in the Senate. So that's the other race that I announced, or that rather I mentioned in the other video, that was very important to keep an eye on, which was the Senate and House races in addition to the presidential one. It is closer than expected. So if we take a look at this map, this is the current, let's say, divide. There's still 77 toss-ups in these key states. However, as you can see, Florida and all these other states, some of them which were projected to go to Biden, did end up going to Trump. Georgia, 92% counted, 51.9% for Trump, 46.8% for Biden. Michigan was 16 delegates, 61% counted, 53.8% for Trump, 44% for Biden. Pennsylvania, 68% counted, 56.7% for Trump, 42% for Biden. Votes, however, are still to be received until Friday in Pennsylvania, because mail-in votes were accepted the day of in certain states. Wisconsin, with 10 delegates, 93% counted, 51% for Trump, 47.3% for Biden. Now, there are some opposing views between the candidates. Joe Biden declared yesterday, or rather early Wednesday morning, that he was on track to win this election, but urged patience while votes are counted, so he is trying to spread some optimism. However, Euro USD, the most popular and commonly traded currency pair, hit around 116, its weakest level since July 24th. The pair managed to erase some of the early loss and is currently testing the 50 SMA, which is this green line, after you can see this massive drop. Trump once again, as he had previously done, said that mail-in ballots are fraud on the American public and that his campaign will go to the Supreme Court. That destabilized the markets a little bit, even more than before, because of the fact that he was mentioning it. Now he seems to have grounds because the election is so close. One of the key scenarios we mentioned in the previous videos were if Biden were to just run away with it, there would be no room for this, but because the election is close, pay attention to Trump and what he decides to do. Donald Trump also delivered a speech to his supporters on Wednesday morning where he addressed the election night. He said that it looks clear that he won Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. However, as I mentioned earlier, neither of these states, or none of them, had a winner called so far, as vote counting is still ongoing, with some of them, like Pennsylvania, with still a significant amount of votes to be counted. When can we actually expect the results? So we can see here, based on this chart, we can see that some of them we could get the full results, some of them we would get them later on. Some states are expected to count votes longer than others. Pennsylvania is one of the key states where it could take days to announce full results. Counting of mail-in votes in this state started today, and it is considerably longer than counting in-person votes. So that's the scenario we mentioned where this is unprecedented because there are so many mail-in votes. The election proper results, because these key states like Florida did not go Biden's way, could actually take a few days, perhaps even till the end of the week or even next week to get the final results. Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf said that there are still over 1 million mail-in ballots to count. So that election is still unclear, despite Trump mentioning that mail-in ballots are fraud or that mail-in ballots do not count. The other key race that I mentioned was the Senate and House races, and these are closer than we expected. So what happened in 2016 is that the Democrats lost everything. the president's office, so the White House, House and Senate, and that is a repeat of the situation in 2008 from Obama. But this time we have the split where the Democrats in the House and the Republicans are taking the Senate. And so based on that, we're going to have potential for discussions further in when it comes to the stimulus talks, which were delayed till after the election, hoping that perhaps they would have, one of the two parties would have a supermajority, which is when everything is controlled by that one party. But seeing as that's not the case, there could be further delays to the stimulus bill that's been discussed for a very long time at this point, and with the continuing progression of the pandemic and the increase in cases and the lockdowns, that could definitely destabilize the markets even more. So some market reactions that we saw precious metals pulling back with gold and silver. The US dollar is one of the best performing currencies today by far, definitely gaining on some strength, some market risk off moods, some different confidence in the currency. Silver, platinum, and palladium trade over 1% lower. So as I said, the precious metals have been declining. Gold not as much. And indices, however, are looking for a direction after dropping significantly earlier after the speeches. So we could see a rebound, but it's unclear what's going to happen. Oil WTI, which in the context of the campaigns is more favorable towards Trump because Biden prefers, let's say, green energy and moving towards that direction, which could be negative for oil. Then we saw it bounce back once the election didn't seem as one-sided or as one-sided as it was predicted to be, let's say. And so what are the key markets to keep an eye on? Euro USD, as always. USD will react to the future risks and outlook for US debt. Keynote yields, higher debt may trigger a sell-off in the US yields because of that. S&P 500, the lower the risk, the better, but as we know, it seems like it's very uncertain. NASDAQ, so that's the US tech index, which has been a driver. Biden's win could be negative for the tech sector due to planned tax increases. Trump is seen as a friend of big US companies as he focuses majorly on indices and the stock market and the health of the stock market. The Russell 2000, that's the small cap infrastructure plan outlaid by Biden, could provide a boost for small cap stocks from Russell 2000. Gold, again, the short-term impact could be negative amid drop in uncertainty. That could be as usually, or as sometimes it is seen as a safe haven. Oil, Biden is negative for US oil as he promises hinted at increased foreign output and support for green projects, while Trump could be positive for oil in the short term. However, the prices should refocus on OPEC cuts and pandemic impact later on. And some emerging market currencies are always worth keeping an eye on based on the relation with the US dollar. So hopefully this market recap video on the elections was useful. There is a lot of information. We still have a lot more to go, but let's just say it is a lot closer than many people expected. And so that we could be in, we could expect some surprises going forward. So thank you very much for watching. My name is Walid Koudmani, and good luck with your trading.